Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome to the Rebel Pastor YouTube channel. Pastor Sky over here in South Korea at the moment. And yes, you can see I am back in my office. And you know, I did say I was going to try to take some more videos outside, but let me tell you the reality of where I am right now. At the moment, it's like -2 degrees. And I thought to myself that maybe I don't want to go out there and start recording more videos out in the wilderness where it's super cold out here. And you guys know me, I hate the cold. I can't wait to get out of this area. If it's your first time here on the Rebel Pastor YouTube channel, go ahead, hit the subscribe if you love this content, hit the like, the notification bell. Most importantly, if you have friends or family out there you think that would enjoy this type of content, go ahead and give out and share this video with everyone that you can. What is our goal? With the last 2 weeks in December, we're like a little bit over I think we're around 6,100 subscribers. We are pushing towards 10,000. Our goal was to hit it by the end of this year, which there's still 2 weeks left. Anything can happen if God is willing, but if not, it's okay. Right? Because we still have another year and we're still doing really well. We got a great audience and we got a lot of you guys out there that are supporting this channel. Multiple ways of doing it. Go ahead, look at the subscription below. One of the best ways you can do it, as for you guys know who I am, yes, I am someone who loves, I love coffee. So we do have buymeacoffee.com if you want to support us there too. And that would be wonderful and great. I'd be so grateful if you could support us in that way too. Could be like a little Christmas coffee present you give me also. Yes, I'm totally in love with coffee. I make coffee every day. At the moment right now, because I'm working in an office and I am a total extrovert. Like I did the MBTI, which I know is not super accurate, but you know when you're like you have the ENFJ, whatever it is, I'm an ENTJ. And my extrovertedness is like 93%. So me being here in the office all day drives me crazy. So what do I like to do, guys? I actually just make it. One of the most therapeutic things that I do for myself is I make coffee. I make anywhere from like 7 to 10 cups of coffee a day. Now, don't freak out. I am not drinking 7 to 10 cups of coffee. I make it for a lot of people, right? So, you know, a lot of people from international countries visit and they always bring me like a nice bag of coffee beans and then I grind it and then I make like these pour overs and such. Hopefully I'll get a new espresso machine in the future also, but I do that as a hobby. And most importantly, I love doing it for people. Like I love making coffee. Just the process of making it calms me down and it is very therapeutic. This is actually my 3rd cup of coffee today, but I want to let you guys know that this is decaf. I do drink decaf too. Usually after 3 p.m. I stay away from large amounts of caffeine, so I'll have decaf after 3 p.m. if I'm going to drink coffee, because the most important thing to me is it's the taste, not the caffeine. I have enough energy as it is. It is about the taste, all right? So, like I said, once again, amazing week. I had a great trip to Jeju Island last week. Yes, if you haven't checked it out yet, last week's video, I took this beautiful scenic view, my video, right by the beach over there in Jeju Island. I will try my best to do a little bit more. And if I do some more traveling, I will have more opportunities to record videos in the different countries that I go to too. Okay, so let's get into today's video. Today's video is kind of cool, right? So it's a super famous prophecy of Jesus's coming, right? And guess what it has to do with? It's something that people really, really love. It is animals. Yes. There is a prophecy in the Bible that when Jesus comes, something's going to happen to the animals, right? And I know you guys out there, a lot of you love your pets, your dogs, your cats, your rabbits, your turtles, your birds, your fish, whatever it is, you name it, you love your animals. And Jesus, when he comes, what's going to happen? It's going to affect the animals. And we're like, whoa, like, is this a good thing or a bad thing? But of course, if Jesus comes, it's not going to be a bad thing. It's going to be a wonderful thing. So let me first get into the verse itself, and then we'll go deeper into it, okay? So it's Isaiah chapter 11, verses 6 through 9, and it says, "The wolf will live with the lamb, the leopard will lie down with the goat, the calf and the lion and the yearling together, and a little child will lead them. The cow will feed with the bear, Their young will lie down together, and the lion will eat straw like the ox. The infant will play near the cobra's den, and the young child will put its hand into the viper's nest. They will neither harm nor destroy on all my holy mountain, for the earth will be filled with the knowledge of the Lord as the waters cover the sea. So, do you guys have that imagery in your mind? When the Lord comes, what's going to happen? There's going to be this peaceful animal kingdom where these animals that once ate each other are going to be holding hands and dancing and singing like kumbaya together, right? And I'm sure many of you have read this before and probably maybe just skimmed over it or heard a sermon on this. But this is really an amazing prophecy. And the bigger question I give to you right now is how? How is it going to be fulfilled? Right? And that's something I think is a very, very important thing for all of us to really think about. Now, let me just get into a little bit of the context of the prophecy, just so you know that don't just take my word that this is about Jesus, right? But when you read the verse, like go to the very beginning of chapter 11. So it's Isaiah chapter 11. If you look at verse 1 through 3, it actually shows you that this is about Jesus. So in Isaiah 11, 1 through 3, it says, "A shoot will come up from the stump of Jesse. From his roots, a branch will bear fruit. The Spirit of the Lord will rest on him, the Spirit of wisdom, understanding, counsel, and of might, the Spirit of the knowledge and fear of the Lord, and he will delight in the fear of the Lord." Okay, so here it is. This is about Jesus. Why? We just read, especially in verses 1 and 2, it says that a branch will come out from the stump of Jesse. So those of you guys who don't know Jesse, Jesse is actually King David's father, right? So what we do know is that God promises King David that the Messiah will come from his lineage, right? Where is King David from? He is from Bethlehem. And this is why, where was Jesus? Jesus was born in Bethlehem, the same as King David, same lineage. So this is showing one of those prophecies that actually came true. Now, cool, you have the context. So let's get deeper into this prophecy. As we have to think to ourselves is, okay, so the stump of Jesse, from King David will come Jesus, and that actually happened. It actually happened where Jesus was born in Bethlehem, in a manger. We all know the story, and it's happening in 2 weeks when we celebrate Christmas. 2 weeks or 1 week? It's like 1 or 2 weeks away, right? So it's like, oh, okay, this is quite interesting, right? So it's like, that's what's actually going to happen. Now, let's get one step deeper into this. So it's like, wait a second. When Jesus came, born in Bethlehem, just like King David, did the animal kingdom actually happen, right? And this is something that you have to think about and say, oh, what does this actually mean to you, right? That's the question I'm going to give to you is like, is this prophecy deeper than what it really says? Or is it, is it just as is? All the animals come together. So my question I bring to you guys is, what does it mean to you? Because it's really, really interesting, right? When Jesus comes from the lineage of David, he's born, everything else, and then what's going to happen is, yes, the animal kingdom is supposed to come. Now, many people are going to say that, oh, no, Isaiah chapter 11 is talking about the second coming. And I will tell you this, a lot of times we have no choice but to say it's for the second coming. And let me tell you why we have no choice. The reason we have no choice is because if it's indeed for the first coming, and we don't see it happen, it means that Jesus didn't fulfill it, which also means that Jesus isn't the Messiah. We kind of have this triggering instinct that, oh no, it didn't happen, so Jesus must not be the Messiah. What I'm going to tell you this is it actually happened, right? We're going to go into how it happened, but first I want you guys to think about, oh, how did this actually happen at the time of Jesus, okay? Now, when you go to the prophecy of Isaiah chapter 11, it always talks about the opposites. These animals are always against each other. It is predator versus prey. The wolf and the lamb, the cow and the bear, the lion and the oxen and the yearling, right? So it's like, how are these animals all hanging out together and not having, how come the lion is not eating the oxen, right? How come the wolf is not eating the lamb, right? So we have to think about this is, wow, did this actually happen? That when Jesus was born, don't you think there would be some people that would notice that, oh, there was a wolf about to eat my sheep, and then all of a sudden, on the day when Jesus was born, He comes up to the sheep and then he's like, oh, hey, buddy, how's it going? Starts petting the sheep and they start hanging out, dancing together and singing songs by the campfire. Did we hear anything about that? And the answer is we did not. So here's the thing that I want to give to you guys, okay? The first question I want to give to you guys to start thinking about this more deeply is, when Jesus comes, the Messiah of all mankind, right? The prophecy tells us there's going to be an ideal world of animals, right? Which is quite interesting, don't you think? Because there's a reason I asked you guys what you thought. Because the thing that we need to really get to is not about, hey, I read this verse, this is what I think. We're always trying to figure out, what does God think? What is God thinking about this? Does God really mean this, right? And that's why we need to start looking at the scriptures and seeing how God thinks, how God sees, how God speaks to us, right? So let's look at the scriptures and see the way that God thinks, okay? So the key thing we're looking at right now is animals, the animal kingdom. When Jesus comes, the animals will all come together in peace. There will be no destruction, no harm on all my holy mountain. So let's take a look at what God says about animals in the Bible. So let's start with something very, very easy. Let's talk about dogs, right? Dogs, man's best friend. But let's see what the Bible says and what God says about dogs. Okay, so the first one we'll take a look at is Proverbs chapter 26, verse 11. Okay, and it says, as a dog returns to its vomit, so a fool repeats his folly. Right? So is God focused on the dog that returns to his vomit, or is God really talking about a person that is like a dog? God is using dog as a symbolism for a foolish person, right? Let's take a look at Psalm chapter 22, verse 16. It says, dogs have surrounded me. A band of evil men has encircled me. They have pierced my hands and feet, right? So is King David here really talking about dogs surrounding him that, have encircled him and have pierced his hands and feet? And the answer is no. He's talking about people, right? It says, dogs have surrounded me. A band of evil men. So dogs are not just foolish people, they are evil people, right? How about deer? Take a look at Song of Songs chapter 2, verse 9. What does it say here? It says, my beloved is like a gazelle or a young stag. Look, there he stands behind our wall, gazing through the windows, peering through the lattice, right? My beloved is like a gazelle or a young stag. It's not talking about this beautiful creature, this animal of a deer or a stag. He's talking about his lover that is like a deer, right? Let's take a look at a fox, right? Luke chapter 13, verse 31 and 32. And what does it say here? It says, at that time, some Pharisees came to Jesus and said to him, leave this place and go somewhere else. Herod wants to kill you. What's Jesus' response? Go tell that fox, I will drive out demons and heal people today and tomorrow, and on the third day I will reach my goal. Jesus calls King Herod a fox. Is he literally a fox? Absolutely not. This is the way Jesus spoke about King Herod. He's like a fox, right? Probably one of the most famous ones we'll take a look at is the lion. And we know when we think about a lion, we think about the king. And of course, we also think about Jesus, the symbolism of Jesus, not just a lamb, but also a lion. Revelation chapter 5, verse 5 says what? It says, then one of the elders said to me, do not weep. See, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the Root of David has triumphed. He is able to open the scroll and its 7 seals. The lion is someone from the tribe of Judah, or the king, meaning it's King Jesus. You can also say King David too, but the tribe of Judah is not just looked upon as just a tribe of people, symbolized as lions. So, now that we get this idea in our heads, we got to think to ourselves as, whoa, this is God's language. This is the way God speaks to us in the Bible. And it's different and similar to ours, right? And this is why knowing the scriptures is such an important thing. God's language is a language of symbolism, allegories, and parables, right? Look at Matthew 13, verse 34. What does it say? It says, Jesus spoke all these things to the crowd in parables. He did not say anything to them without using a parable, right? Also in the Old Testament too, in Hosea chapter 12, verse 10, what does it say? It says, I spoke to the prophets, gave them many visions, and told parables through them, right? So we see that it's not just Jesus speaking in parables, but even in the Old Testament, God said he spoke to the prophets, gave them many visions and dreams, and spoke parables through them. It's really clear how God speaks to us in the Bible, and it opens the door. Like you kind of get an idea. You get to see the window into God's heart. This is how God speaks to human beings, right? And if you really think about it, when we weren't created just just randomly. God said we were created in his image and his likeness. I'm going to tell you this right now too is, don't we also use parables when we talk about each other too? We call each other pigs. We call each other dogs. We call each other, we always say these different, like, oh, there's the cheetah, there's an eagle, right? We even have team names for, like sports teams that are animals and they're parables for the city they live in. Look at the NFL. They have the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? Yeah, these are people, all the steel plants were in Pittsburgh and they call themselves the Steelers, right? Are they all Steelers? Absolutely not, but it's symbolic of that city, right? So now that we understand how God speaks to us, we have to reach that next stage. The next stage is, okay, so let's get back to Isaiah chapter 11. What's this prophecy about? It's about two types of animals, or different types of animals that do not belong with each other. The wolf and the lamb don't belong. Cow and the bear don't belong. The yearling, the lion, the oxen don't belong. So if we start to understand God's language, then what is God actually talking about? What is God talking about? We have to get to what is the purpose of sending Jesus. Because remember, Jesus comes and then these types of signs happen. And one of them is the animal kingdom, peace and joy, no harm, no destruction on all my holy mountain. So what is God actually talking about? Look at the purpose of why Jesus was sent, right? When you look at why Jesus was sent, think about, all right, Jesus is sent to solve a problem, and what's the biggest problem on the earth? Do you really think it's animals? Do you really think the animals are sinning by killing and eating each other? Or is it natural and normal, survival, instinct, making a perfect ecosystem that continues and lasts? Because God created the animals, and the animals have survived for millions of years. So the question I give to you is, are the animals the biggest issue that God is dealing with? Did Jesus come to save the animals? Or did he come to save the people? Think about it. Who has more problems? People or animals? And guess what, guys? If you talk to animal lovers, they'll say the same thing. They're going to say animals are suffering because of people, right? Even animal lovers are like, it's because of people. Animals go extinct because of people. Animal cruelty doesn't happen from other animals. It happens from people. The biggest problem in the world right now is not the animals, it is people. God gave us the Bible. God gave salvation. God gave us Jesus. For who? For us, for the people. It's not for the animals. The biggest problem in the world right now are people. And this is why, if you understand the scriptures, you need to start looking at the scriptures from God's perspective, not from, this is what I think it means. God is speaking to us, and he's speaking to us in ways that we can understand. Remember I told you before, human beings, don't we call each other pigs too? When God says to you, you're a pig, then we know automatically what it means, right? Because we know what pigs are like. Pigs are like, if someone says to you, oh, you pig, it can mean multiple things. It can mean, number one, you're fat. It can mean you eat too much. It can mean you're a slob and you're dirty. Or, sometimes you'll have these like maybe a guy that just goes around trying to sleep with a lot of girls, and the girls will say, "You pig." All you think about is one thing. Why? Pigs only think about food, right? And like, as long as there's a girl there, they're going to want to get with that girl. So like, "Oh, you pig." So when we hear the word pig, we understand exactly what someone's saying without them having to explain, "Oh, you're this, you're this, you're this, you're this, you're this." We just say, "You pig." It's done, right? You know what? Even God calls people pigs too. Look at Matthew chapter 7, verse 6. And it says, "Do not give dogs what is sacred. Do not throw your pearls to pigs. If you do, they may trample them under their feet and turn and tear you to pieces." Why is Jesus telling people not to give pearls to pigs? Because I don't think anyone would give a pearl to a pig. A pearl is something that is precious. A pig, when it sees a pearl, what does it see? It doesn't see a pearl. It sees food. It doesn't value what it really is, right? God is saying, hey, don't give what is precious to someone who does not value it, right? And that's something that we have to realize. Even God speaks to it. And God's saying, "You pig." God is calling us pigs too if we're that type of person. So what is the actual answer to Isaiah chapter 11? What is the answer to this animal kingdom? It says that animals should, so when Jesus comes, animals should be peaceful with each other and not harm each other, not have food. Predator and prey are peaceful on all of God's holy mountain. Like, what does that really mean? Well, let me give you a hint. We're going to go all the way back to the book of Genesis chapter 49, and this is where the biggest hint comes, and it talks about certain types of people, right? So we'll get into Genesis chapter 49, and this is the place where Jacob is about to die. He has his 12 children that symbolize the 12 sons of Israel. But interestingly, look how he blesses his children. First, let's look at verse 9. It says, "You are a lion's club, Judah. You return from the prey, my son. Like a lion, he crouches and lies down. Like a lioness, who dares to rouse him?" Jacob blesses his son Judah and says, "You are a lion." Right? Look at verse 14. It talks about Issachar. Issachar is what? Raw-boned donkey. Verse 21, Naphtali is a doe set free. Verse 27, what about you, Benjamin? Ravenous wolf. Even Jacob blesses his own children using parables and symbolisms of animals. Why? They are similar. So when Jesus comes, you got to think about this, guys. When Jesus comes, what kind of ideal world is supposed to come? Is it about animals that are supposed to come in peace and in love? Or is it about people? People who hate, people who bully, people against each other will come together in peace and not harm. People who are opposites, who should never be together, like a wolf and a lamb, like a cow and a bear. Not the animals, but people like those animals. And if you look at this, it even says that the lion will eat straw like the ox. Now in the Bible, this is so cool. The Word of God, right? In the Bible, the Word of God is symbolized by food. In Matthew chapter 4, verse 4, when Jesus was being tempted in the desert for 40 days, Satan tempted Jesus with food, and Jesus says, "It is written, man shall not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of God." Food is, the spiritual food we have is the words of God, right? What is Jesus saying when he says that? What is the Bible saying, that prophecy that the animal kingdom will come? It's people like lions, people like cows, like bears, like wolves, like sheep. Those that should never be together, that are always in war and destruction with each other, they will come together in peace because they eat the same food, which is the words of God. Everyone, and it's like, wait a second, when Jesus came, did all of Israel come to peace? No. Did the world come to peace? No. So did it really happen? And the answer is, it absolutely did. But who will receive peace? Who will receive the no harm and no destruction? This was actually fulfilled in Acts chapter 2, verses 42 to 47. And what does it say? All the people that followed Jesus, Acts chapter 2, 42, 47 says, They devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to fellowship, to the breaking of bread, and to prayer. Everyone was filled with awe at the many wonders and signs performed by the apostles. All the believers were together and had everything in common. They sold property and possessions to give to anyone who had need. Every day they continued to meet together in the temple courts. They broke bread in their homes, ate together with glad and sincere hearts, praising God and enjoying the favor of all people. And the Lord added to their number daily those who were being saved, right? Think about this. Why is this a fulfillment of the animal kingdom? Who were the disciples? Who were the ones following Jesus? Prostitutes, doctors, fishermen, tax collectors, religious leaders, businessmen, the poor, the sick, the needy. Is a doctor supposed to be with a prostitute? Is a fisherman supposed to be with a tax collector? These are all people that should have never been together, and even the teachers of the law acknowledge that. In Matthew chapter 9, right? Matthew chapter 9, verse 10 and 11. What did they say to Jesus? While Jesus was having dinner at Matthew's house, many tax collectors and sinners came and ate with him and his disciples. When the Pharisees saw this, they asked his disciples, "Why does your teacher eat with tax collectors and sinners?" Even the teachers of the law saw that these people should not be together. They're animals that should be against each other. But why? As it says in Acts chapter 2, we just read, why did they have everything in common? What does a prostitute have in common with a fisherman, with a tax collector, with a doctor? What do they all have in common? It's because they all heard the words of Jesus. They heard the words of God. And as they came together, hearing the words, their hearts transformed and they began to have everything in common. Isn't that crazy? How a prostitute, a doctor, a fisherman, a tax collector can have everything in common. They give and sell their possessions so that everyone can eat together. That is what happened only to those who believed and followed Jesus. And they fulfilled that animal kingdom prophecy. And it's still being fulfilled today. Only those that hear, only those that believe, only those that come together, think about this, those who go to church, if you didn't go to church and if you didn't hear the words of God, if you didn't hear the gospel, those people you know from church, you would have never met. You would say, I would never have hung out with someone like that. I would have never talked to someone like this before. The ideal world was being made the moment Jesus came, preached the words, people start to listen, and they started to believe. That's Isaiah chapter 11. That's what actually happened. We have to understand these prophecies so well because it enforces and strengthens Jesus's kingship and authority as the Messiah because he even fulfilled Isaiah chapter 11. And if you guys think about this symbolism is so amazing, right? The symbolism of, remember we talked about Genesis 49 about Jacob blessing his 12 children that became the 12 tribes of Israel. Think about this foreshadowing. Before Joseph was born, there were 10 brothers and they were fighting. They're against each other. They're not having peace. But it was only after Joseph came. And if you read the story of Joseph until the very end, you realize that because of Joseph, the brothers come to their senses. They repent. They come together in peace and harmony because of Joseph. Because of that one person that God sends, all the brothers came together. And what does this foreshadow? In the same way. When Jesus came to Israel, the chosen people, you had the 12 tribes of Israel. They were all in it for themselves. They were not harmonious. There wasn't even peace between brothers and sisters, but only those who came and followed Jesus, there came peace. It stopped the fighting and it stopped the war for those that believed. Those that believed became one. Those that believe came together, and this is the animal kingdom that actually happened at the time of Jesus. It was fulfilled. But remember, if we always think of, I think this, and I think the Bible said this, then we're only going to get the Bible according to our own level, which is not the level of God. How do we get to the level of God? How do we understand? At least get a glimpse by reading the scriptures, seeing how God thinks. And when you start to see how God thinks, things start to click. You're like, that's what it means. I hope it's something that you guys can gain a lot of inspiration, a lot of motivation from. But this is something I want to make sure that everyone can share this and understand this even better and know that the prophecy of the animal kingdom actually came true. And there's something we should be looking forward to when Jesus comes back again also. All right? So everyone, thank you so much for joining us on the Real Pastor YouTube channel. Have an amazing and awesome day, awesome week. Yes, I'm going to be in the cold. Hopefully I'll be in another country by next week. Only God knows, all right? So everyone, enjoy your wonderful week. We'll see you again on the Real Pastor YouTube channel. And make sure you go ahead, click that like button, hit that subscribe button, and share this with as many friends and family as possible, all right? Everyone, enjoy. This is Pastor Sky signing out on the Rebel Pastor YouTube channel. Bye-bye.
Rebel, never settle, I raise the level. It's time to go, sky's the limit, it's me against the world. Rebel pastor, ooh.